So 3 riding setup tips for me personally. First and foremost is handlebar height. I am a 6-foot tall guy, and I run the low bar from Polaris, the 5-inch bar. And the reason I do is because anytime you're in off camber, off trail conditions, we're up on edge. And when you're up on edge, having the bars lower, so when you get up on edge, having them not up in your chest, I think that's key and number 1. Number 2 is suspension setup. You know, for me, I run my Fox stuff, and you know, of course, suspension is going to be better on the trail, but we don't buy an RMK to ride the trail. It's all about initiating, getting on edge, staying on edge, and getting up out of the snow. And that's something that I work really hard on our shock package, and it makes a huge difference, which it should, because shocks are expensive. So that's number 2. Number 3 is just calibration, and whether it's a turbo or an SLP setup or whatever, is having that sled dialed in to run peak RPM at all times. And that's really important, because in the end, you don't want your sled to be the excuse. I would rather the rider be the excuse. So if the things that you can eliminate, which one is sled setup, make sure your sled is set up and running properly. So riding tips, you know, thankfully I make a living at making people better riders. But the biggest thing is do not avoid your weaknesses. So what I mean by that is a lot of people, most people are comfortable with riding on the left-hand side and can side hill on the left side. The problem is Mother Nature or the terrain we ride doesn't care whether you can side hill on the left or the right. So if you have a weak side and or something that you struggle with, practice it until you're good at it. And so when you avoid what you're weak at, you'll never get strong at it. So that's a little bit of advice that we always tell our guys.